Hey, paisans, the time has come. On the air since 2009, the independently produced, non-FCC compliant champ of video game talk podcasting. Here comes Tiger Claw Radio. Here's your host, Critical Failure.
Welcome everybody, this is Critical Failure. You are listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Feeling good this week. Halloween is coming. Fall truly is my favorite time of year. October comes, we get like a week where the leaves change color. You know, it's not hot anymore, but the cold isn't here yet either, and it's kind of going back and forth. Now I live in Maryland, right smack in the middle of the east coast of the United States. So if you travel north about an hour from my hometown, there's the Mason-Dixon line right there. So we never really get either way. It's really muggy here, but we don't get buried under snow, and it's also not the swamp. So that makes this time of year for a Marylander very, very nice. Very nice. And I do so enjoy it. It's good times. And as for video games this past week, it's been a spook fest accordingly. So before we get to that, over at Battle of the Bits, they have the Spoopy competition, I guess. So I went over to check it out, and there's some good tracks, as there always are. So this one's a collaboration from Omni Pigeon Master and Jakerson, and it's called Banshee's Brig for the Spoopy 5 compilation over on Battle of the Bits. That's happening right now. So let's take a listen, and when we come back, video games. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio.
Back again in the studio. Here's a little bit I recorded on Friday.
Well, with October, I know it's Hamrock and I kind of talked about doing shmups for October. and I still plan to. But over the last couple days, for me, it's been all about Painkiller. I wanted to play something along the lines of Blood. Eric Kentroller played Blood on his channel for about an hour, and I watched it, and it's a great video. Haven't played Blood in a while, but I didn't just want to play the same game. So the closest thing I could think of, just flipping through my games that'd be good for Halloween, was Painkiller. Awesome! It starts out in a graveyard, in a mausoleum kind of thing. Couldn't be more perfect. And it, feels like an old school shooter where you can strafe as fast as you can run. So I reinstalled Painkiller Black, and I played it a little bit. Really had a good time with it. I had some technical difficulties, which caused me to have to restart the game a couple times. So I played the first 2 levels 3 times, and that takes about 20 minutes to do. So I'm really sick of those first couple levels. But it's a lot of fun. Painkiller has a weird thing where we had this game, right, that was pretty well received, and there was 5 sequels after that. 5 that are all nearly identical to that original game, but worse. So if you look it up on Steam, you're going to see games like Painkiller Overdose, which, how much does this game go for regular price? $5? Yeah, $5 for Painkiller Overdose. I seem to remember liking this game. It plays almost the same. I don't know. I guess the charm wasn't there. But yeah, so because of that, I started reinstalling some of the sequels that I never really tried. So I played Painkiller Resurrection this morning for the first time. That's like Painkiller, but for whatever reason, the hero has jowls. And that game was bad. I mean, just because the levels were really linear and kind of weird. And I am now installing Painkiller Redemption, which has been in my library since I don't know how long. Long enough that it doesn't say. So probably 2011, 2012, something like that. And I've never played it. So that's installing right now, and that should be a treat because that is, let's see how Steam receives this game overall. Painkiller Redemption. It's almost done too, 95%, 2 gigabytes. These games are not small. Okay, mixed reviews for Painkiller Redemption. Regular price $5, a cheap game. And the reviews are loading. Here we go. The Painkiller Redemption experience can be more or less summarized like this. You enter a cram pad filled with a dozen or so enemies, you kill them, a dozen or so more spawn, you kill them, a dozen or more so spawn, you kill them. You start to notice how obtrusively restrictive the level design is on your movement, you start to feel claustrophobic, but instead of instilling fear, it instills disgruntlement. I thought this was supposed to be a painkiller game, and you think to yourself, and then it goes on and on and on. Okay, so that's cool. I'm not holding out hopes. I know it's going to be bad, but I just want to try it, It's one of those things where I bought the game 10 years ago, and it's just been sitting on my backlog waiting for this time when I'm going to play it, hate it, and then hide it so that it never shows up when selecting a game again. And you know what? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you work through realistically anyway, that's how you work through an oversized backlog. So in order to play along with Hemrock, I want to play a shmup, preferably one that's in my backlog that I haven't played before. Because I've got, I'm looking at my Steam collection now, and it says I have 41 games in my shmups category. And I seem to remember it being much more than that, so I have to think I had some really bad ones that ended up just getting hidden. So let's take a look here. I can see some games in here that are really good. Jamestown is probably the oldest game in this collection, or at least oldest in terms of the one I've had the longest. How about... I don't even know how to pronounce this. Caladrius Blaze. That seemed like a well-received game. And it's in my backlog. It says I've played it for a total of 1 minute. But that's not true. I haven't even played it for 1 minute. I think I must have installed it and loaded it up once or something, and that's how it registered the time. But that's a shmup. We're going to go ahead and install that. and I will give it a spin, and we'll check back after I've run it. Oh, it's installed already. This is it actually opening the game. Oh, that's cool. Oh, this looks like a waifu game. Alright, well, I'm committed now. I'm going to give Caladrius Blaze an honest shot, and we're going to check back. I can tell you a couple things just from loading it up. Number one, this is from Moss, who did, the Raiden 3 and 4, and they make good games. But I can also tell you this is very anime. Very anime. Woo! A little bit more anime than I'm used to. Having played through the first stage now, I dig it so far. You got several different characters you can choose from. And then in the actual gameplay, there's 4 different attacks. You have your regular shot, and then you have 3 other different types of shots that have a limited percentage of how long you can run them. And then on top of that, you've got bombs. So a lot of different things you can do. And then when I beat the first stage, it allowed me to put skill points in my attacks. So multiple characters, multiple attacks, and then an RPG advancement element on top of that. There's a lot going on in this game. In terms of gameplay, it's top down, which is very similar to the later Raiden, or all the Raiden games, actually. But yeah, I feel this is pretty close to Raiden 4, which is one of my favorite shmups. I still prefer Cave. I still think Dodonpachi is a better game. But actually, how much does this retail for? Because I picked this up in a Steam sale, so I couldn't tell you. Okay, so this is $20, regular price. So yeah, I still think that's a good deal. Or maybe not like a bargain, but so far it feels like a game that's worth $20. But let's play on. Alright, so having, paused and played through a couple more levels, I'm now getting ready to start level 5. Is this... Yeah, stage 5. So a couple things. You can credit feed. This is definitely... Hold on, let me just click here. Because it's not letting me shoot for some reason. There you go. You can definitely credit feed. It's like a free play mode, and there's several different things of difficulty. So continuing doesn't seem to be a problem, but that's mixed with a horrendously large amount of bullets. So yes, you can chill out and play through it, but the level design is really difficult. So I don't know, take that for what you will. There's definitely a lot in terms of player choice, that all the different characters seem to have all different types of attacks, and you can choose which one you want to power up. One thing that's cool is that when I get game over and I restart or continue, I can switch which character I want, and I still manage to keep my upgrades and whatnot as I jump from character to character. So you can definitely credit feed, which is good for me because I am not very good at these shmups. I like them though. And the backgrounds are really well done. So it's not just the work didn't all go into the sprites and the waifus and whatnot. The actual environments are all fully 3D rendered and whatnot. It looks really nice. And I'm doing the shooty, which is cool. And I think this might be it. Let me pause one more time so I can finish out this stage. All right. Quick break in the recording. We now went forward in time. This is all now being recorded on Sunday again. We're just about 14 minutes in. All right, let's go back and check out another chiptune from the Battle of the Bits. Tiger Claw Radio. Did you know this is a Patreon-sponsored program? Have I mentioned that before? This is Patreon-sponsored? I give the Patreon sponsors early access to the show when I can, and I also offer them the Monday Night Morrowind show that we do every Monday over on the Patreon. And I also have an old tradition where I like to read their names off here right on the air in a hall of distinguished gentlemen, sort of like a hall of fame, if you will. And they are Technoballs, Darabka, Hemrock, and Eric Controller. Thank you all for helping keep the lights on and keep TCR coming back over and over again week after week after week, and I hope you're enjoying the party. So last week, Hemrock pointed out some retro news that he put on Discord, and I didn't quite get around to reading it. So before we go anywhere else, let's go over to the Discord and see what he's got for us. Oop. All right, hang on a second here. While that's loading, I'm just with Steam open, I'm looking at Namco Museum Archives Volume 2 on Steam. Sold for $20 with 11 titles in it. Galaga, Battle City, Pac-Land, Dig Dug 2, Super Xavius, Mappy Land, Legacy of the Wizard, Rolling Thunder, Dragon Buster 2, Mendel Palace, and Gapless. This really is the age of the compilation of the old, archive, whatever. This one looks pretty good. I really liked Legacy of the Wizard and Battle City. Battle City, I played when I was a kid. I played it on one of those bootleg cartridges that 190 games in one cartridge. And since this was pre-internet, I thought that whole cartridge had just descended from the heavens. Well, it had Battle City on it, which I don't think we ever got in the States. So to see that here in a collection is pretty sweet. But that said, let's shift gears, head over to Discord and see what we got. So in Discord, dropping down to the TCR one that Hemrock made. And let's drag that to my center monitor here, and we're going to go up. 1010, 10.9. Castlevania was where we left off. Okay, retro news. New translation. Community Palm is a 1997 action RPG simulation game for the PlayStation. The gameplay involves classic 2D Zelda action, plus some simple pet-raising simulations, with the player releasing palms to increase their combat stats and unlock new features and abilities. And that's got an English translation now, which looks pretty sweet. Sonic Hacking Contest trailer has been released, which is super cool. I have not yet watched this, but I've played some of the Sonic hacks. And Sonic is I was not a big Sonic fan growing up, but the hacking community around Sonic the Hedgehog is bananas. They do a better job making new games than the actual Sega company does now. I'm going to pause so I can watch this trailer. All right, not exactly a cinematic trailer, but while I'm watching this thing, I'm noticing that there's footage of Sonic Adventure and some of the 3D Sonic type stuff, and I never really considered hacks of those. But yeah, that might be a cool thing to do. So if you're into Sonic the Hedgehog, that contest is going to bring forth many a new adventure for Sonic fans. So thanks for that, Hemrock. What else we got? 3 more? 3 more. Yeah, retro news. Alwa's Awakening is being retooled for an actual NES card. Supposedly ROMs will be available for purchase eventually. EdenPixels.com with Alwa's Awakening. That name rings a bell. Give me a second. Let me pop over to Steam. Take a look. Is that the one that's kind of like a Castlevania game? Nope, I never bought it. Store. I think this is one that's been in my wish list for years. Alwa's Awakening. That's exactly what it has. It is currently $10 on Steam. I seem to remember this being $20. Yeah, it looks a lot like Castlevania 2. Non-linear platforming. This looks dope. Eventually I'll get around to buying it. So this is going to get an official cart, huh? That is pretty sweet. I can't imagine what it would take to do that, because something developed as a Windows game, or whatever, goodness knows what tools they use to make this. So if it's showing up in an NES card, that means they had to rebuild it from scratch, and that is I like something I don't want to think about. That's okay. Al was awakening. Witch and Whiz, a game originally puzzle platformer developed for the Pico 8, is headed to the NES in both cart and ROM only form. Another Pico 8 game getting some shine. Let's take a look. I'm opening up the itch.io link. I love the Pico 8. My goodness. I'm familiar with Celeste. I didn't realize that was a game that started on the Pico 8. I think that's awesome. Witch and Whiz, there it is. Originally developed for the Pico 8 in 2017, can be played for free here. And you pop it open, and it goes to the actual Pico 8 website, where a little Flash player is set up. Or, yay, I can download the cart and put it in my Pico 8 folder. There you go, yeah, so if you have, so Hemrock is for you. If you got Pico 8 sorted out on your V90, pop open that link, and then right under the Flash player where it says cart, and there's a little picture of a cart, if you click on that, that takes you to the actual cartridge, like the image with the embedded code. So yeah, this looks playable. I haven't come across this one yet, so I'll have to play the Pico 8 version and see what I think. But that's cool. Pico 8 is dope. I always like hearing about those projects moving forward and becoming real things. Retro news. Tobu Tobu Girl Deluxe is an action platformer for the Game Boy and has a Name Your Price ROM release. Oh dear, let's go check it out. Name your price. I got a price for you. Not very high. They're selling a physical release. That's how they're getting along. Okay, that's awesome. Man, new games, physical copies of new games though. Oh my goodness, they're expensive. I can think of a couple games that I've come across that I think are worth it, primarily on the Commodore 64. But I don't know if I could ever like collect newly designed games, because that'd be just an enormous amount of money. But getting a couple like choice favorites, I could see. Let's see how much do they want for the actual also available. Yeah, let's see. I want to see how much this cartridge is. Maybe a good looking Game Boy game. All right, Tobu Tobu Girl Deluxe EU US limited edition pre-order. Tobu Tobu Deluxe EU US regular edition, €49.99 euros. Woo! For the regular edition, $64.99 for the deluxe edition. So I don't even want to think of what that is in US dollars. A lot. And then there's going to be some shipping on top of that. Gosh. It's gonna be like, once you factor in shipping, you're up to like $75 for a single Game Boy game. It's better be an awesome game. Retro news. Nintendo.com. Gray Lancer for Nintendo Switch. An epic adventure across the stars to save her father. That is a thing. If you are a Switch owner and are interested. Yesterday, Hemrock points out Torchlight 3 is on sale for $10. Did I miss that? Is that gone? Like, I'm not terribly interested. No, it's still $10. I don't know. I think it was just because it was next to like the original Torchlight, which was like $3 or something. I can't do $10. That's too much. That's too much for a video game. All right, let's get back to Discord and see what else he's got. We had some of the boys from the Emerald Rangers pop over to Discord, so that's cool. There's been some good stuff going down over the past week or so. Here we go. Retro news. The Final Fantasy Legends collection was just recently released on Steam a couple of days ago. The experience of the Saga series with a collection of Saga, Final Fantasy Legend, first complete port of these hugely popular titles, etc., etc. We're looking at $20. So let's pop this open and take a look at the Steam link. $20, and what does it actually contain? Let's drop down just a little bit. Titles included: Final Fantasy Legend, Final Fantasy Legend 2, Final Fantasy Legend 3. Is that it? Just those three? I mean, I guess that's cool. I did really like Legend 3. That's a cool game. Wow, $20 for 3 Game Boy ROMs. I guess the Square tax is still alive and well, even though it's Square Enix now. I know I'm late to the party on this, but there was a bit of an uproar over at Nintendo's new Netflix editions and price increase. Over 90,000 dislikes on YouTube. Oh dear. Prices are going up for what seems like already. What are they asking now? Hang on a second. Let me pause this again so I can find out. Oh dear. Yeah, everybody hates this video. Oh dear. Okay, so they're doing this thing again where they're gonna trickle games in, and now you buy the plus. So let's take a look at the comments because everyone seems to hate this video. Add this one to the playlist of Nintendo videos that have more dislikes than likes. Yes. 3 days ago, John Smith says, "Wow, this is a new low. Guess I'll just wait for the Steam Deck to emulate all these games and a million more for free." Ouch. Can't wait to spend $100 extra when they release the stability pack, which gives content stability updates. Anyone who doesn't play Animal Crossing and already bought 3D All-Stars has every right to be upset about this. Nintendo, you showed a price increase so unjustifiably high that compared to the content being added, you have encouraged me to play your games on an emulator from now on. And that comment has 170 likes. Whew. I thought this would be an extra $10, but an extra $49.99? Y'all must have lost your minds. Oh dear. I think I need to finish watching this video because it's worse than I thought. Ha! Alright. 12 months of online play just to be able to play multiplayer is $20. 12 months of online play plus Nintendo 64 ROMs, like 3 or 4 of them and whatnot, is $50. Woo! Woo! It's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. It's just there's no way it's gonna get better. And that is the reason why I'm done with the modern console market. I'm done. I've been playing my C64 Mini this morning, and that's been great. It's been great. Not every game will run on it. It's not perfect. But I was playing the shoot 'em up destruction set, the Volume 1, which had like a helicopter game. I want to say Silver Wing, but that's probably not it. I can't remember what it was called. But that was good fun this morning. Playing that while my kids lounged around and played Bloons TD6 on their tablets. Yeah, we had a good time. Didn't cost any $50 a year. Jeez. I can feel my energy starting to completely bottom out. We got an email from Hamrock with a lot of good stuff in it. I'm going to grab some tea, and we're going to hit it. All right. Hey, Paisan. He writes, thank you as usual for another episode. I hope Shmuptober is treating you well. I'm really interested in the C64 Shmup pack that you mentioned on the last episode. Can you throw a link to it in the Discord or YouTube? As far as shmups are concerned, I'm primarily playing Skyforce Reloaded. This is the one with RPG elements. I'm playing it on the Switch, but you can get a free version on Android, or it's $10 on Steam. Also played a little bit of R-Type for the Super Nintendo, but I wasn't feeling it. Alright, before we move on, let's get those links in the Discord. So, for clarity, it's called the Shoot 'em Up Destruction Set, and there's 3 of them. And the first 2 are free, and the third one is $2.99. I'm going to drop those links all in the Discord right now. Alright, they are up. Where was I? Let's get back to the email. Nope, that is not it. Is it over here? There we go. Yeah, okay. He goes on. I too am a fan of the Raiden series. Probably the first scrolling shooter I really got into was Raiden 2 on the Raiden Project PS1 release back in the day. My brother and I rented it from Blockbuster. Afterwards, I looked for it to purchase. I remember one guy at the game store mentioning it was hard to come by. It was one of the original long boxes that never got a re-release. A decade and a half later, and I eventually picked it up for my game collection. Great thing about Raiden 2 is that it allows couch co-op. That is awesome. I know eating on the air is bad form, but If I keep pausing, at some point, the show's not going to get made. Disgaea is an interesting game. I played the original on the PS2 over a decade ago. I enjoyed the tactical RPG elements. However, the bizarre anime setting is off-putting. I'm right there with you. I probably get at least halfway through the first game, but I never got into the later games. You know what? I kind of felt the same way. It was way too anime for me, but I liked the battles. They did strategy games very, very well. But oh boy, you better like being in Demon High School, shirtless boy Demon High School, because that's Disgaea in a nutshell. I recently watched a review of Torchlight 3, and I gotta say it looks pretty cool. It's essentially Torchlight 2 with a few more mechanics. I particularly like the idea of customizing your home base. You may be interested to know that the game is 75% off until October 28th, where it will be dropping it to $10. Nice. Thanks for giving me the link to the Real Tiger Claw Media Discord. I didn't realize I was posting in the wrong one. See the failbag section for news and related links. Yep, yes indeed. Thanks, man. Glad to have you on board. You asked me what my friend did after he bit the start button on my PS1 controller. Well, to be honest, I don't know. That was so long ago. There's a good chance he swallowed it, as he only took a small portion of the start button off. Yes, he's an interesting fellow, and still is. Mind you, the controller was still fully functional. This part of the start button was missing. The select button was left intact. I think my original PlayStation with its controllers is still at my parents' place. Next time I go there, I'll have to remember to find it and take a photo for the Discord. Hopefully my parents didn't get rid of it. Yeah, man. That is an interesting story. I don't know what it is about biting the start button off of the controller, or I guess just part of it. But for sure, that one captured my imagination in a very real way. You mentioned that you have Romancing Saga 3 on the Super Famicom. That actually is a fan translation. It's not perfect, but it may be better than paying almost $30 for the Android port. Yikes. I will say this, though. Playing it on, playing the straight Japanese version, it seems like an awesome game. Like, it's got everything that made the 16-bit RPG era, great. I think it would be, if we got it stateside, it would sit among those, real beloved RPGs. At least based on what I've seen. Who knows? But yeah, the sprite works great. Combat seems to be great. Seems to have a little bit more, menus and stats and stuff. A little bit more of an advanced type of RPG than what we're used to at the time. But yeah, $30. Whew, that's a little steep. I might check out the fan translation just so I can get a look at what they've been saying in the game instead of just clicking the button to try and get through all the dialogue. Moving on, he says, I really enjoyed your stories about the PS1 collection and playing Solar Striker with NG. You asked about whether there was a Gradius type game for the Game Boy. I think the game you were thinking of is called Nemesis. Let's take a look at Nemesis. He links me to the good old classic Gamer and Productions. Let's go ahead and mute that. Yeah, this is very much looks like Gradius. We've got the power-ups on the bottom, and you've got to collect the power-up items to move it to the next power-up, and then you get an option, and you shoot all of the enemies in a line to get access to a power-up. Yeah, that's it. I vaguely remember sending you Pokemon Blue. Wow, that was a long time ago. Let me know when you want to start a new game. I'd still be up for some trading. I'd have to begin a new game in Pokemon Red. Yeah, how do you feel about doing that, like a GBA version of that? Because I think all the kids here are doing GBA games, like Sapphire and Ruby, that kind of thing. I don't know. I'll keep you in the loop though. Yeah, because I would definitely like to do some trading and whatnot. I liked it when that one time you were in town and we went to like My Organic Market and we sat in the atrium and we played Duel Masters. That Duel Masters is not my favorite game in the world. I mean, but it's charming. It's pretty cool. I didn't play it as much, so I got my clock cleaned thoroughly. But that was really fun. I would like to pursue save files in games that we can play via link cable, so when that time comes, we can link up and do battle and whatnot. How do your kids like Pokemon Sapphire? Can you trade Pokemon between multicarts? Yeah, trading Pokemon seems to work just fine. They are having a ball. They haven't done much with the link cables, but my daughter in particular likes Sapphire quite a bit. I asked about Final Fantasy VIII in the last fail bag. I did a little bit of digging, and as it turns out, someone created a game FAQ for getting through the game with only leveling Squall up to level 7. Here's more details. Yikes. Let's click, see what he has. Brace yourselves, everybody, because we're headed into the caves of autism. All right. This is dated in 2002, so... the raw text. I haven't seen that much unformatted raw text in years. So I have my Painkiller X18S. I've had it for over a week, and to be honest, I haven't used it as much as I've been distracted with other things, to include work, family, Final Fantasy VII, Shmuptober, and reading the novel Dune, etc. In any case, I'll try to give you a first impressions review with some pros and cons. Pros: Nintendo DS type form factor. I love the idea of folding up the console so as not to damage the screen. Quite a bit of power under the hood as it can play GameCube games. Screen looks amazing. Long battery life, 5,000 milliamp hours. Responsive controls. Cons: the original firmware is terrible. It's Android based, but it didn't come with the Google Play Store. To Powkitty's credit, they quickly came up with an update that included the store. However, there's still problems. One, it isn't straightforward on how to update the system. It took me a while to figure it out. And two, the update still has the same basic layout, which is a bit clumsy. Three, after the firmware, my battery meter got jacked up so it would not accurately read battery percentage. For instance, it would not immediately recognize... For instance, it would not charge past 78%. Someone on the Discord recommended that I run the battery dry and then recharge it. This did the trick, but I shouldn't have to do that. Yeah, I agree. 4, my custom wallpaper resets every time I turn off the device. Well, that sucks. The system will not immediately recognize my SD card. It will give me a warning saying such, but then when I unlock the device and get into Android, it immediately recognizes the card. The buttons and the D-pad, although responsive, are a tad mushy and too small. If you get a chance to take a look at the Painkiller X18S and see how much real estate they had to work with. And with all that, we got a small D-pad, small buttons, and I feel as if that wasn't enough. The buttons were a bit too close together. Being super nitpicky, I wish I could have got a different color, mainly black as opposed to the only option of off-white. With all that, it probably sounds like I hate the device, but I don't. I'm glad I made the purchase. Black Seraph, a known developer in the retro handheld community, already made a new OS for the X18S, which is currently in testing. This should fix most of my beefs with the software, even with the current OS. None of the problems are game-breaking, but they're more annoyances that I think I can get used to. And I think I can get used to the button placement. The X18S is the beginning of a new generation for these so-called retro handhelds. Alright, gonna stop you there. Did you see the Retro Dodo video on the X18S? I think it's Retro Dodo, where he took like a heat meter and he looked at all of the devices in that line, and he talked about the center of the device, top side, becoming hot when you play it. That seems like that'd be the deal breaker for me. Have you experienced anything weird like that, like it getting just generally uncomfortably hot to play? All right. Have you fixed Civ 2 on your new old PC? No, I haven't run the new old PC in a while. It's been tough to find time to do that. Any news on the chiptune mixtape? No, not really. I've got to get back to reaching out to artists, which I found once I stopped doing that for a while, it becomes very difficult to do it again. But I have to somehow, because otherwise CME, I kind of need that in order for the record label to operate. Did you listen to any Sarah on the 8-Bit Collective? If so, what did you think? Not yet, but I want to. What are some of your goals for Monday Night Morrowind? Well, for Monday Night Morrowind, the overall goal is, of course, to mad rush the game, because I want to either restart it, heavily modded again, or move on to Oblivion. Short term, while I was playing the last group of episodes, I came across a cave that was filled with zombie type monsters, and they were a bit much for me to hang in there with. They didn't kill me, but I had to pop in and do battle, and then go back out and save, and then go back in again, and it just was too much. So I think I did that off camera. Like, I recorded it, but that particular footage got corrupted somehow. So my goal right now, and you're probably not going to see this for a couple weeks, is to get back to that cave and clean it out. So there is a cave that I want to clean out, and that's my short-term goal. So that, and then do the next story thing is where I'm at. Yeah. Monday, I've got... It comes out tomorrow, so that one is already recorded, and then I have next week's recorded as well. But then that's it. So I got to get back to it and play more, and we'll see how it goes. I know you may not be currently in the market for a console, handheld or otherwise, but looking into the future, what is the most likely console, including the newfangled retro handhelds, modern stuff, retro, etc., that you are most likely to pick up? I'm rooting for you, Hemrock. You ready for a shocker, man? I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but over the last couple days, I'd considered the C64 Maxi. We have it in the States now. We didn't initially, but let's take a look on Amazon, see how much it costs. I've been playing my C64 Mini pretty regularly. Like, I was playing it this morning and whatnot. It's the system that's getting the most play right now. And the Maxi is $130. It sounds like a lot, right? I'm not gonna lie, that's a lot, but that's a working C64 or some sort of like facsimile. So I'd considered that. We'll see. I want to play a few more Commodore 64 games, because it's either that or I'm gonna have to buy spend $10 on a nice USB hub and a couple more things to make the Mini playable. But so money's going to go into it one way or the other. And the Maxi has a better refresh rate. It's not as good as the OG software, the real thing, but the C64 Maxi is much closer in terms of input lag and screen refresh than the Mini is. So that's a thing. So for some of the fast-paced shmups, I think the Maxi might be the way to go. Particularly with Alley Cat. There's a game called Alley Cat on the C64 Mini, which is a top-down shmup where you can do barrel rolls and stuff, and your elevation can go up and down. Super cool game. Sounds cool, looks cool, plays cool, but it's just too fast. And it's the one game where that little bit of input lag, can be seen. Because there's not much. It's not much. The input lag on a C64 Mini, way better than any Bluetooth controller. If you're playing a ROM on a phone with a Bluetooth controller, then you're getting an input lag that's way worse. But it definitely is a thing. So I don't know. Oh, look at this. This is kind of shocking. I'm just finding this out for the first time now. The A500 Mini is out now, apparently. For $140. Whoa, I am shocked. Yeah. I don't know. It's been a while since I played an Amiga game. And that's a lot. For another Mini with a keyboard that doesn't actually function, that's a lot. Oh, wait. This item will be released on March 31st, 2022. So it's not out yet. But they're accepting pre-orders, apparently. All right, that makes more sense. So there you go. That's what I have in mind. But what about you, man? I mean, I know you're changing the firmware as soon as you can on the X18S. Once you have that thing up to par and it's running, at least as good as it can, what do you plan on playing on it? So you said it could play GameCube games, right? So you got anything specific in the GameCube library that you want to go through? I wouldn't mind, and this is just kind of, off the cuff. I haven't been thinking about this lately, but I wouldn't mind playing Super Mario Kart Double Dash. I never played that game. And I heard people rag on it, but then I've heard other people really like it. Double Dash is a game that I would like to experience. If I had an X1S8, I would be seeking a copy of Super Mario Kart Double Dash to play. Alex Swingle over on YouTube writes, to further emphasize how out of touch the Torchlight devs are, Torchlight was $20 retail on release. It was the same gimmick as Fate, being $20 for each additional expansion, and the $20 for the base game, and $20 for the base game included for free. To me, they failed so hard with the second Torchlight game. I'll only get the third one if it shows up in the Bundleverse. Hashtag never again. Ouch. Dissension in the ranks, my man. 23 minutes in, The Spooks. Reality has been more terrifying than any game I've ever played. I'm not even talking about the manufactured crisis we've been experiencing. Get it? Because the narrative was that it was created in a lab. I'm generally a positive guy, cue the laugh track, but I've witnessed enough tragedies to enact my own goth angst period. Seeing black veins scattered through my hands is enough to spook one for life. It's looking pretty bleak, but I won't let it bring me down. I'm going to be like the Kool-Aid Man and shatter against a wall of incompliance with physics. I mean, regardless of the outcome, positive thoughts, yeah. Considering October is toilet month, I've been honoring the tradition by setting my bowels on fire. Mechamenace, I hope the world doesn't go back to what it was, given the systems in play. It made it pretty bad unless you're on a certain track. I hope this is a red pill moment for a lot of the world. FF8 talk. FF8 is the best story that is plagued by a 2-hour tutorial that does its best to not properly explain the junction system. Most spazzes hated 8 because the reading is hard, and using one's own mirror neurons is even harder. Like all Final Fantasy games, the closer you get to the ending, the dumber the story gets. It's simply a story about the lust for power destroying everything, but it has great scenes that don't dwell on the moral. The Siege of the Dalit was one of the two, as well as the two schools fighting each other were awesome and well worth watching. I still remember the heist fondly. You can't keep teammates dead. They only faint in battle, and they keep 1 HP after fights. Granted, it's been literally 20 years since I played it, and exploiting a stupid mechanic like level scaling wasn't something on my mind at the time. The scaling isn't bad compared to the junction powers. Fergia on STR maxes out the strat. So you have one shot everything, negating the need to use such a trick. Yeah. What he said. Alex, man, hope you're doing okay. Hang in there, brother. Good to hear from you. Desm says at 47 minutes in, yeah, there were 2 Gradius games on the Game Boy, Nemesis and Gradius, the Interstellar Assault, aka Nemesis 2. Coincidentally, I just covered them briefly in my latest video. Shameless plug. Sorry, Lamau. Desm 101's got some good videos, and he knows his shmups. So, yeah, watch Desm 101's channel. Good to hear from you, man. Hope you're doing okay. Macamatis, 40 minutes in, the original long box RE1 goes for $150 CIB in good condition. PS1 is headed into full swing. Expect by 2023 prices of super rares to be 500 plus CIB. There are already some which hit those numbers due to the giant panda rampaging around the globe. I bet those numbers will cool by 200 before climbing again. Golly, $600. I missed my chance to snag Klonoa for $50 when the digital version went up on PSN. I always had that feeling that people are fine with loose carts. I think the less people are fine with loose discs, and even less people are fine with the disc and case, but no manual. The CIB price for PS1, Dreamcast, and onwards is going to be bonkers. Maybe foolishly, I think the PS3 and the 360 era might not skyrocket, possibly because I still see these regularly at garage sales and thrift stores. But again, I've had this feeling, and my imaginary feel of the situation is that they made more of those games than previous generations. I think I remember having a similar feeling of PS1 games. Ha! Yeah, man, that's that. Have we learned nothing? You got to get them while they're around, because when they're not around, it's already too late. Now's the time when you got to stock up on your copies of Modern Warfare 2. Thanks for checking in, man. Hope you're doing well. Bodix RC says, unfortunately, I had a bad experience with Amberneck. I got myself an RG351P for almost $100. It was okay for only 2 months, and then it died. No gamepads detected. None of the buttons worked anymore. I tried everything. Different softwares, different SD cards. Was asking people in Amberneck groups, Discords, and nothing. Most likely my unit has a faulty board, so basically I can scrap it. And now I got myself a V90 from Powkitty, and we'll see how long this will last. At least it was only $35 this time. So, with all these Chinese devices, it's one big lottery. You know, I understand and I agree with you, but know that all electronics have a certain amount, like a failure rate. So it sucks, but that's a thing. And what you're talking about it being a lottery, oh yeah. If you're buying a handheld off of AliExpress and you got your Powkitty for $35, I have to think you are, then you're not getting any warranty. You know, if it shows up in the mail, you're already doing better than some folks. But the V90 is a good system. Have fun with it, man. Eric Controller. So, this is on Painkiller. I was playing Painkiller last week. I think I'll have to get this one. Looks like digital Painkiller for sure. Hard to beat the relaxation of brutally blowing away hordes of enemies for hours on end. Digital catharsis. Reminds me when I used to play Unreal Tournament with bots over and over while jamming out to late 90s techno house music. Good times. That does sound like a good time. I used to do that as well. I wasn't into techno at the time, but I do remember playing Unreal Tournament with bots. Did you like carefully customize your bots? Because I did, to like a weird autistic end. They all had names and behaviors and stuff. It was pretty weird, but it was good times. He finishes off that comment by saying, "Does this happen to have multiplayer options?" And I actually looked into this quite a bit, Eric. The original Painkiller does have multiplayer, or at least it supported multiplayer when it came out. It was based on GameSpy, and GameSpy went down a lot of years ago, so it doesn't really work anymore. Now, there is a program called Game Ranger that you can use to play some games online like this. All right, Game Ranger does support... it's free, by the way. Game Ranger's free. Game Ranger does support Painkiller, so in theory, we could get Game Ranger, get Painkiller, and play online that way, even though GameSpy has gone down. However, I actually tried this to see if it was a viable option, and for whatever reason, Game Ranger does not jive with the Steam version of the game. So, no, it doesn't, unfortunately. Maybe if we had played the GOG version, I don't know. I actually have it on GOG, but I just haven't taken the time to install it. I don't know. I kind of lost interest. The HD version is not GameSpy based, so if you wanted to pick up Hell and Damnation, also a very good game. That's probably multiplayer enabled. You guys check out Eric Controller's channel, by the way, because this is a guy who I think comes from outside our normal circle of dudes who all watch each other's videos. He's got 29 subscribers, and he makes pretty good Let's Plays. Pretty good long-form Let's Plays. Eric Controls Blood Again. 1 day ago at 1 hour and 5 minutes. That's on my watch later list. I'll be watching that tonight. Yeah, so that's a thing. Check him out. He deserves more views. And I know there's no way that YouTube is going to push this channel, because YouTube doesn't push, people who just make content for a good time, and that's it. There's no money there. There's no corporate money there. So in order for a channel like this, to get seen, it only happens because bros tell other bros about it. So that's what I'm doing now. Two really good channels within our circle that are worth checking out. Eric Controller for Let's Plays, and Desm 101 is like one of the last really good video game essay channels. He does he had really good videos on Gradius and stuff. So yeah, those are both worth checking out. Mecha Menace says, "Can you clear things up? I don't know when I should check for the new TCR, especially when it's understood that you send the latest TCR earlier to Patreon subs, leaving a smaller window for listeners to respond before the next TCR is recorded. Is it released Mondays, Wednesdays, or time permitting? Can you get it any day up?" Yes, good question. It gets really... Okay. I see what he's asking. At the time, I responded with, "It gets released for supporters when I can, but not before Friday." All right. I tried it. Monday is release day, okay? Monday is the global release day. Sometimes I don't make it. Sometimes it happens Tuesday, whatever. But Monday is the day it goes up for everybody. And the supporters edition, I try and get it up on the weekend prior to Monday. So right now it's Sunday. So tomorrow is release day. I'm going to have this one up like in the next hour or so. So that means the supporters are going to get it like a day early. All right, hang on. As a non-patron but a supporter, when does the new TCR go up? Monday. Let's use example 405. It went up on the 18th on Monday. Does that mean 406 and 7 will go up Mondays as well for people who are supporters but not patrons? Yes, Monday. Monday is the day. And I know that 6 months to a year ago, however long ago it was, I made Wednesday the day for a while. But that was because I was only going to go with that until the end of, COVID, and it seems like this thing is dragging on. So Monday's the day. Yay! Thanks for being interested enough to ask. Getting over it with Bennett Foddy. He says, does this game save your progress? You started on the same shoot you ended in the last time. If so, that's nice for a game that consistently is set to old school hard. Yep, that it certainly does. Every time you fall, there's no way out of it. Even if you fall and you Alt F4 the second you fall, then when you load it back up again, you're still going to have fallen. So that is definitely a thing. Skipping ahead a bit. Monster Bash we played for Halloween. I could never get this to work on our 286. Maybe it was a bad disc. We had a lot of those cheap games from spinner racks at the grocery store. Looks like a decent amount of fun, and not an excuse in exercise in patience. Forgiveness, like Dangerous Dave. Although these jumps look unfair, 5 minutes 56 seconds. That, or you are missing a turn off the deadly spikes. So can I perform? So I can platform this platformer switch? Yeah, probably. Probably. I didn't put a lot of time into it. I was just playing it a little bit for fun. So there's clearly things I'm missing. But yeah, It's a grab bag of things I'm missing and legit bad design, because this was back when an entire commercial video game could be made by one, maybe two, maybe three people. Speaking of Dangerous Dave, I believe one of them is haunted, spooky themed. Never played it. First one is such a pain to beat. I think I played Dangerous Dave one time. Like, I know that name, but I don't remember the That's not one that's burned into my memory, like Commander Keen is and whatnot. Finally, Trax Canon Channel says, hey, you got Guild Wars in your library. Go play it. It's a great game. I do have Guild Wars. It is a good game. I got Guild Wars years and years and years ago. Who was I in a Guild Wars group with? I know it was Seb, the half-blind gamer, who knew it very well. And I want to say it was one of the Classic League guys. I want to say Tony, but I'm not 100% on that. And the three of us got together and played Guild Wars like all night, but only like 2 or 3 times. So I've had Guild Wars in my Steam library for a lot of years, and from what I understand, you can't get it anymore, right? Guild Wars. Okay, Guild Wars. Here it is. Give me a second. Last played September 27th, 2011, so 10 years ago. So let's go to the store page, and it's loading, and it goes back to the Steam main page. Clearly not there anymore, so we need to add that to the removed from Steam list. Alright, so let's go back to the Steam main page, and let's search for Guild... Oop, come on. Guild Wars. Guild Wars Trilogy is there, for $30. No, Guild Wars Game of the Year Edition. $19.99 in my library. That's weird. It's here, but when I try and, get there from the actual game, it doesn't go. Very strange. Yeah. Guild Wars is around. You can play it if you want. I don't know. Something weird that sticks out to me about Guild Wars is it looks so much like World of Warcraft, but you cannot jump in Guild Wars. And I remember, like, in World of Warcraft, jumping all across the countryside, and that was the dumb thing I like to do in the game. And that little feature being missing was very apparent for me when I tried Guild Wars. Again, not a bad game. It's an MMO with no subscription fee, which at the time when this came out, this is marked as 2005. I don't know how accurate that is. At the time, that was a big deal, you know? MMOs were subscription-based things at that time. Well, guys and gals, we made it an hour. You know what that sound means. That's TCR for the week. Thank you very much for listening. Big thanks to Emerald Rangers for continuing to keep the show on their podcast network. Yeah, you know, time is the greatest currency, the most valuable currency. Can't get it back. So I thoroughly appreciate the time that you spent here listening to tunes, you know, just talking about video games or whatever. I appreciate it. The time has always been important to me that you spend here. So thank you. And you've always got a chair. So whatever you got lying ahead of you this coming week, I hope it goes well. You know, I can't promise that it will, you know, because you never know. But I can promise you your best chance is to, you know, pull up them slacks and smash through your problems head first, like the Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah! Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week.